Dave. Good morning. This is a convening of the Massachusetts Gaming Commission. It's agenda setting meeting number 171, and I'm Jordan Maynard. I'm serving as the interim chair. This meeting is being held virtually, so we will do a roll call. Good morning, Commissioner O'Brien.
Good morning, I'm here.
Good morning, Commissioner Hill.
Good morning.
And good morning, Commissioner Skinner.
Good morning.
All right, it's Wednesday, June 12th, 2024. It's approximately 10 o'clock. We're going to move on to the minutes. Before we begin, I will note that Commissioner Skinner did find a missing word and period on the April 17th minutes, number 10. I didn't know if there were any other corrections, and I wanted to thank her for bringing that to our attention. Any corrections on any of the minutes, commissioners, before we move on?
No.
All right. We can take these together if you want, because they were all packaged together. Judy's already corrected that, by the way, Commissioner Skinner. So with that, I move that the commission approve the minutes from the April 3rd, 2024, April 17th, 2024, and May 29th, 2024 agenda setting meetings as included in the commissioner's packet discussed here today, subject to any necessary corrections for typographical errors or other non-material matters.
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Skinner. Commissioner O'Brien.
Aye.
Commissioner Hill.
Aye.
Commissioner Skinner.
Aye.
And I vote yes. So now we are going to move on to the packet.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Just slight correction. That second goes to Commissioner O'Brien.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Skinner. I did announce before we started the meeting, I'm using 3 different screens that I'm not used to. So I apologize for any mistakes I make. That goes to Commissioner O'Brien. I'm sorry about that. So with that, we're turning to the packet. We have the upcoming meeting schedule. We have public.
Before we go too far into it too, just I had mentioned at the last meeting I'm not available on the 18th of July. So I don't know if Grace, you had looked at whether we could advance that to the 16th. I'm going to be presenting at a conference and traveling 17, 18, 19 that week.
Trudy, are you on? Do you have access to everybody's schedules for the 16th? We are meeting on the 11th as well. So
yep.
We could also just see after the 11th if we need to have a meeting on the
18th.
18th as well.
We can,
yeah, we can do it. We can do a TBD. I just wanted to remind everybody because I brought it up last time. I didn't want it to get too far committed.
Yeah, we're happy. I'm happy to accommodate Commissioner O'Brien. Your schedule is needed and make sure that we're all there. We're happy to do that. Not a big deal. So what we'll do is looking down, if everyone has access to the upcoming meeting schedule, instead of me reading them all like I normally do, if everybody can just look down, we have meetings scheduled out in June. We have July. We will talk about the 18th and get that one fixed. We have a couple things to point out. Adjudicatory hearings on July 2nd. That's some IEB qualifier hearings. We also have one from the IEB with the MGM beverage license renewal. And then we went ahead and tentatively put dates down for August. Does anybody have anything they want to add or change to that schedule? All right. Anybody from the team have anything they need to add or change? Okay. With that, we can go ahead and move on to June 20th. Dean, I'm assuming we're going to hold the administrative update because we've had to pass on the last one.
Yeah, we should keep that one.
All right. We will have meeting minutes. I did look over some with Judy. Commissioner Hill, legislative update. All right, I'm getting a yes. Regulations, Councilor Grossman.
I don't know. Are there any regs carry on your plate?
No, we won't have any regulations next week.
All right, thank you. Director Band.
Yep. Valley's House rules and TGL discussion.
All right, we can move forward with that. Chief Lennon, FY25 budget, is he on?
Yep, right here. So we will basically have the same packet that we presented last time with one additional table. That will be the assessment for each sports wagering operator of the proposed assessment and any public comments that come back. So hoping to have that to you by Friday. The comments we won't get to you until right before the meeting because that posting doesn't close until Wednesday, close of business. But any comments that come in prior to then, we'll make sure we get them over to you as they come in.
Perfect. Commissioners, any questions for Derek on that front? All right, thank you, Derek.
Thank you.
Director Vanderlinden or his team, we have a review of the potential partnership with Gamban. Is that still on?
Actually, I would like to defer that, Chair Maynard. Long is out this week, and I just don't think we're going to be ready for it. So if we could push that actually to the next meeting, that would be great.
Perfect. We can do that. Chief Delaney.
We will not be moving ahead with this item. We met with the town and they have withdrawn that request.
Were there any other follow-ups to do from
We
your
have
team?
one matter with Everett. And we did meet with Everett and they will be submitting us some documentation this week. They've already submitted us some. So we could possibly take that up on the 20th. I do know that the commission did talk about having the police chief or someone from the police department speak at that meeting. I didn't know if you wanted to do that. The chief is not available on the 20th. So if you did want the chief to speak, it would probably need to move out to the 12th. But if you just wanted to take the written testimony, we could do that on the 20th.
Commissioners, any preference or is it not ready for prime time for the 20th?
I could do either one. But
There is no particular urgency to this. If the commission wants to push it out to the 12th, we can do that. There is, in talking with the city, there was no particular level of urgency to have this done on the 20th.
So why don't we defer it until the chief's availability then?
Yep. So is the consensus that the commission would like to have the chief available for questions or to speak at that meeting?
I would say no.
For sake, yeah, right.
I think I would leave that up to the city, how the city wants to move forward, just coming from me. If they think that's, if it's a part of the application, I know Commissioner Skinner also discussed this at length. So I'm interested to hear what she said, but I'm happy deferring to the city and how they want to move forward on the application.
Well, Joe, can I ask who signed it for the city?
We just got the information. I haven't even looked at it yet. So.
Oh, no, I mean the original request.
It was, I believe, the mayor signed for, we only get one signature for the entire application.
Oh, because of the blocks. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Commissioner Skinner, I saw you come off the mic.
I think Commissioner Hill is the one who suggested this commission hear from the police chief. And so I really defer to him. I could defer to the city themselves on who they want to present to give some sort of statement relative to the application. I do remember us talking about some other expert that we could invite to talk about that technology. So I don't know if our team has given any more thought to who that might be.
Well, we don't, basically we have a link to the company. They have a video that they have on how the system works and so on that we were going to send to the commission, but we don't have an independent expert in this area to really go to. We don't.
So let's move this to the 11th and let the team do some work on it. Does that sound good?
Yeah, the 12th. Yeah.
The 12th. Yeah, sure.
Yep. All right. Let me find my place here. The seal of approval conversation, is that still ready to go on the 20th?
Yeah, I think that should be ready. I know that I believe Dave and Mills may have circulated some of the exemplars we got back. So those will be up for review by the commissioners on Thursday. Unless Dave or Mills wants to correct me, I think that's where we're at.
Yeah, that's right, Justin.
All right, thank you. And Justin, while we have you,
Yep.
Are you going to give us a tribal litigation update?
Yep, we'll have a brief update. I think the last update the commission received was back in November. So this will be encompassing what's happened since November and sort of looking ahead for what could be on the radar moving forward. So that'll be ready for next week as well.
All right, thank you. Anything else from legal?
Todd, probably both can say the same thing.
Dave, I'm like way at the moment.
We do have, oh, sorry, Justin, go ahead. Whatever you were going to say, you should go.
I was going to say just it's the litigation update, which we might have to go to executive session for on our active litigation. So that's, I think, the same thing. Maybe Todd and I were telepathically communicating to each other here.
We were indeed. Thank you for that. And I would just add, we may have some executive session minutes for the commission's review for possible approval if everyone's amenable to adding.
Yeah, and we can do that when we go into executive session. That works. All right. I'm assuming, Grace, you're getting this. I'm taking notes as I'm going, but Director Vanderlinden, a research agenda update.
Yeah, Bonnie and I are prepared to share sort of the proposal for an FY25 research agenda that takes into consideration advice from the GPAC as well as the Gaming Research Advisory Committee.
All right.
And by the way, feedback that we received from the commission on the first round of when we introduced it on March 18th. Sorry, I should have mentioned that too.
No problem. No problem. Thank you. The wager limitation follow-up discussion. I know that we've all discussed it, commissioners. Are we good to keep that on the 20th?
Crystal Boschman.
Sounds like Bruce is getting a call from Crystal. That's what I heard. We'll keep that on. And then Dr. Lightbound, you had added the Jockeys Guild recognition.
Ready for that. I was wondering if there was any way we could go at the beginning of the meeting for that. Mindy Coleman has another commission that she also has to be presenting to on that same day, and was wondering if she could get her item with us done earlier in the morning.
Yeah, that's fine with me,
works.
commissioners. Are we good with that? Accommodating? We often do that. Dr. Lightbound, we'll accommodate anybody that has a scheduling conflict.
Thank you. Much appreciated.
All right, commissioners and team, do we have anything else to add to the 20th?
So I have one item for clarification, which is it's brought to my attention by Ivy. I misspoke when we went through the non-compliance events last meeting, and we had 2 going straight back to them and then 1 to be a deep dive and a robust review by them. And what I intended to say and thought I said was them as a party, but apparently I said witness. And so when I realized that, I realized it has to come back in front of us to make sure we're all on the same page on that. So it should be really quick, but we need to add that back on.
Yeah, we can add that back on, and I don't want to get into an OML issue with mocking it up, but I heard it the same way you were thinking. So
I think we all were. It was a very long day. So I think all 4 of us, I led the mistake, and I'm sorry, but I think I led us all astray. So
it happens.
I realized, Commissioner O'Brien, that you said witness, and I was quite surprised by that.
I bet you were. And Kathleen tried to help me and ask again, and I'm like, yeah. And then I was like, that's why you asked me that twice.
Yeah, we'll mark that up and get that fixed. That'll be a relatively quick item.
Yeah.
Maynard, I have something that I'd like us to at least consider, not necessarily for June 20th, but it's along the lines of the license seal of approval that we are going to be discussing sort of as a tool in the toolbox to steer patrons to legal gaming sites. You may know that Chair Maynard and I are at the NAGRA conference, and there's a lot of talk about the illegal gaming market. And I wonder, just with the discussion around the cease and desist letter that Michigan has sort of spearheaded, and now Connecticut, just this morning I learned, has signed on. I wonder if it's worthwhile to just have a discussion among the commissioners as to whether there are any steps we might want to take as a commission along those lines, just with the understanding that our hands are somewhat tied. But I think it's worth the discussion. We may want to send a cease and desist letter of our own. I know there's some jurisdictions who are holding their vendors accountable, making an inquiry as to whether they are doing business with these illegal markets. So I would like us to mark that up again, not necessarily for June 20th, because we may not be ready by then, and just thinking about this, and obviously invite the Attorney General's office to the discussion. But I do think it's worth putting on the under review items at least.
I agree with that, Commissioner Skinner, and Councilor Grossman and his team can also probably, I imagine there's work going on. I imagine can probably update us to as to where we are and what we're doing. Is that okay, Todd?
Yes, that's fine.
All right. Happy to add that, commissioners. I see Mark's got his hand up.
Yeah. So last Friday, Bonnie circulated to commissioners the gambling advertising report. It is set and ready to go. I would love to be able to add that.
Mr. Chairman.
We're getting an echo, Mark.
Thank you.
And I tried to mute because I thought it may be coming from the fact that could be coming from other people's microphones, but it seems like it's yours.
Okay. Bonnie, could you chime in here and I'll just mute?
Yeah, absolutely. We wanted to add to the agenda for the 20th a presentation of the Sigma team's gambling advertising report, which is currently listed as under review. That report was sent to the commissioners last week, and we'd be ready to present that on the 20th.
Okay, I'm good with adding that. Still looks like a relatively manageable schedule. For the record, we've added some time in, if you notice in the packet. So we have 185 minutes right now. I would imagine we took away a couple of pieces, but I will note that Director Vanderlinden is moving the Gambam partnership. So this should fit nicely into there. So, all right. With that, I'm happy. Any other additions on the 20th?
So licensing potentially will have a beverage amendment request from Encore for the new GRD restaurant. We're not sure whether it will be ready for the 20th, but we'd like to hold the time if it is, and that's usually about 10 minutes.
All right. I'm happy to do that. Commissioners, we're good to go. All right. So on the 11th, we know that Joe may be bringing something back to us. Dean, do you want to hold the administrative update? And I do have the 11th, commissioners. I went back and looked. It's a Thursday. So meeting minutes will hold. Yes, Dean. Legislative update. Brad, do you think we'll have one in the middle of July?
We'll put it on. Well, actually, that's when we might get some information because it's the end of the session.
That's
so
what I was thinking.
I would keep it on, and if nothing to report, we'll announce that day.
Thank you, Commissioner Hill. Regulations. Do we have anything from the legal team?
We don't have any regulations for July 11th, but we do anticipate bringing back for discussion the Ohio non-gaming promotions regulation discussion. We did reach out to operators for some comments, so we'll have those for the commission to discuss.
Got it. All right. And then sports wagering. Do we have anything coming up on that date?
Not at this time, but we probably will by July 11th.
All right. And then Director Vanderlinden, we can move some of your items to that date if you want and hold it.
Yeah, Gamban would be great if we could move that to July 11th. And I have under, I'm sorry if I'm having echo here. We also have the national VSE under review to come back to the commission. And I think we would be prepared to bring that to the commission on July 11th as well. So it's a nice way to couple those two together.
All right, so I'll recap what he just said. We'll have a Gamban conversation and potentially a national VSE update. All right. Anything else to add tentatively to July 11th? All right. I know that July 18th may move, or in fact, maybe canceled, and we can roll over stuff to the 11th. Not going to read through that. It's relatively the same as the 11th. Does anybody have anything to add to a week later meeting from the 11th? I got a laugh from Dean in the way that I presented that.
The only question that I have is, at some point soon in the summertime, we vote on the officers' positions. And I think August 1st or 15th is the date that it goes into effect. So we might just want to count back from that, make sure that gets on there.
I was thinking the same thing when Commissioner Skinner told me that I missed a spot in the minutes. I started thinking, aren't those elections coming up soon?
I have, Commissioner O'Brien, I have July 15th as the turnover date.
Okay. So maybe
maybe July 11th.
Yeah.
Let's get that on the 11th then. All right. Anything to add before we move under review? Commissioner O'Brien, Compliance Committee.
That is still under review. Todd and I need to circle back on that, see what the next step is going to be.
Okay. HCA compliance update. Commissioner Skinner. And
Under
Joe.
review still, please.
All right. Joe, I know we're holding Easter Broadway, correct?
Yeah, nothing new.
All right. Carrie, we already talked about, we're going to bring the Ohio example into the 11th meeting. All right.
This one is actually different, Mr. Chair.
Oh,
This is the
examples.
Yeah, two Ohio examples, but this one is the multi-factor authentication. So Commissioner O'Brien and I are discussing a possible date in August. So we'll let you know in an upcoming agenda setting.
All right, thank you, and thank you for correcting that. The DPH report, Commissioner O'Brien and Commissioner Hill, I assume you're working on that.
Yeah, and then this dovetails into, we'll have to mark up at some point, us having a discussion on who's going to be the point person with DPH on various topics. I know that was something we had spoken about earlier.
Yep, I'm happy for us to have that conversation. I will say right now that I think I'm looking at it, given the other commissioners have been pretty involved and in depth with these issues, I will take myself out of that conversation on whoever wants to represent the commission in that way. We did, just for the record, have a brief meet and greet, literally less than 30 minutes with the chair of DPH, and just to say hello, so he could see our faces, we could see his, and so as we move forward, we'll mark that up. But I am going to take myself out of that discussion, just so everyone knows. All right, the gambling advertising report, Director Vanderlinden.
That is now the next meeting on the 20th.
Got it. Procurement thresholds. Commissioner Hill, Derek.
Keep that under review.
All right. AI working group, Director Vanderlinden.
Yeah, it's time. Actually, I need to, and maybe Grace, you and I can work together to kind of reassemble that group. And there was a meeting that I was trying to get with the DGE, New Jersey. It looks like that's happening now, so I wanted that to happen and bring information back to the group. So if we could keep that under review, but I'm thinking it'll be a July meeting.
All right. Can we help Director Van der Linden with his microphone? Because he has the next two items too. So
Is this better?
Yes,
much
these are-
better.
Okay, good. Sorry about that. I should have done my own.
So we've already marked up the VSE. The conference, we actually want to talk a little bit about the conference, and we kind of missed that. So do we want to mark that up for that mid-July meeting?
Yeah, we can add that to the mid-July meeting. We have all the conference feedback from participants. There was another piece of it that I think I should easily be able to pull together, just in terms of sort of what's next and a deeper dive into what participants felt the commission should be focusing on.
Sound good, commissioners?
Yeah, my only ask is if it doesn't move off the 18th, I would want to be involved in that one. So if it can't be moved at all, we might want to bump that to that first, meeting in August.
Yeah, we'll make it work, Commissioner O'Brien. Make sure that you're there. The licensee diversity audit, Commissioner Skinner.
Yeah, let's keep that under review, please, until sometime in August.
All right. Anything else to add? I know we've held some stuff at other meetings to talk about adding. I think we've added most of them.
Yeah, I would like to add the 25703 back on that was discussed at last week's meeting. And we have a meeting this Friday on that, and I will get it back on the agenda as soon as possible.
And there was, remind me, Director Ban, our waiver did have an end date, right? Was the end of July?
Yeah, I think so. It was June 20th, July something. I forget the exact date, so I'll have to look that up.
All right.
Chair, can I add one more thing to the 11th?
Sorry, just following up on, I'm sorry, Caitlin, for the interruption. We should be clear, right, as to when the waiver ends.
That's why
I feel
I
like
have to look it up.
it's June 30th. I think that was the date that was talked about the last time we talked about 257. So I could be wrong, but we should absolutely be clear and plan that next discussion accordingly.
Do you remember the date, Andrew?
It's June 30th. Yes.
June 30th. Okay.
June 30th. Okay. All right. We'll add that. Anything else, commissioners, to add? Team, anything to add?
Excuse me, sorry, I just remembered actually two things for the 11th. One is the IEB will have another recommendation of assessment of a civil administrative penalty that will be ready for commission review by July 11th. So it would be great if we could put that on. That probably is 15 minutes, maybe less. The second matter would be an executive session related to security at the casinos. And so we'd like to put that on. I'd say that's probably 30 minutes.
All right, commissioners, we okay with adding that? We were at about 180, 165 minutes. Where were we? I don't know.
This is for the 11th. Sorry. This is for,
yeah.
Oh, okay. Not the 20th. Got it. All right. Yeah, I think that makes sense. We have some time on that day. All right. With that, do we have any commissioner updates? Well, I'll say this. I'll go back, actually. I'll add something myself. Commissioners, I know a lot of us have been active and going to some conferences recently, picking up after the post-COVID shutdowns and so forth. So I'm sure we can do a update at some point. But so we'll roll that. Obviously, not ready today. We're still in the middle of a conference. I know Commissioner O'Brien's been asked to speak at a conference. I was, Commissioner Skinner and I are at one. And so anyways, an update at some point on kind of where we are and what we're learning. And there's a lot going on right now in gaming. That's what we're learning here. So any other commissioner updates for today? All right. Any other business? Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
Thank you, Commissioner O'Brien.
Second,
Thank you, Commissioner Skinner. Commissioner O'Brien,
Aye.
Commissioner Hill,
Aye.
Commissioner Skinner,
aye.
and I vote yes. Everyone have a great Wednesday.